Welcome to Larry's Library. This week, instead of doing a review, which is what I normally do on a Monday, I have a special. What we're doing is a sequel to the comic book ads video I did, where I took a look at some interior scans from some of my single issue comic books of some advertisements from those comics, and most of those were older books. Well, that wasn't one of my most popular videos, but I did get a lot of good feedback from that, and I got a lot of comments, and people seemed to like it. And a few people did want me to do a sequel, so that's what I got for you today. This is more comic book ads. So I have 26 scans I did from a lot of my old single issue comic books and a few of my black and white magazines even, and we're going to go through them. So I have my tablet here, and I'm just going to look at them and talk about them as I put them up here over here in this section of your screen. This time I thought I was being clever in that I actually looked up, or as I scanned these, since I did this on purpose for the video, whereas the others were just some I had accumulated and decided to do a video on. This I purposely scanned for the video. So as I scanned them, I put the year of the book that it was from in the file name. So that, I won't have to guess what year it is. I'll have it in the file name. Well, like a lot of things, that doesn't always go as planned. Whereas, I did stick them in there, so I know what year it is. I'm using my Fire tablet to look at these, and the viewer in the Fire tablet doesn't show the file names. So, so we're back to not knowing what year it is. Some of these I will remember. I mean, there's 26 scans, so we'll see. And some I might be able to figure out by looking at the scans, like in the other video. So there you go. Got my glasses here, because I'm old. So let's get started. This first one is a Marvel house ad for their Marvel t-shirts. And I believe this one is from 1976, pretty sure. I'll put it on the screen in post. But yeah, these scans will go from 76 to 85. I do remember that. So the oldest one is 76, and then it goes on through a lot of 1977s and then a few 80s, and the final one will be 1985. So I do remember that much. So yeah, I remember seeing these a lot back in the day when I was a little kid. I was probably about 8, 9, 10, around in that neighborhood. And these were in all the Marvel comics for a long time. And man, I really wanted one. And I just never did manage to get one. You couldn't get them in a store. Like I bought this at a grocery / department store. Couldn't do that back then. No, you had to cut your comic book up. And I wasn't about to do that. Get the coupon out of there. And do a mail away. All right. This next one is one of the many Hostess ads that Marvel did. And this one is particularly crazy. So Captain America is fighting the Red Skull over the Cosmic Cube. And how does he defeat him? By using Hostess Twinkies. I mean, take a look at this. Crazy. Nice artwork there. Looks like Sal Buscema to me. Perhaps John Buscema. Not quite sure. Let's see if there's a signature. I don't think there is. No. It is 1976, though. So, thought that was pretty cool. This third one here is a house ad for Savage Sword of Conan. And I think this is, I want to say this is also, not maybe 1977. Well, yeah, it's right on there. Duh. Right, there you go. Yeah, this was a 1977 comic. And it's interesting because they've got here 50 striking hand-colored pages of Conan excitement plus biographies of the people behind the Barbarian bonus. First time ever info on the Conan movie. So this was, good 4 or 5 years before Conan came out, the movie. So that's pretty neat. And actually, this is Comic Super Special number 2, Savage Sword of Conan, because all of the Savage Sword comics were black and white magazines. So I guess in this Super Special, they collected it together and it was color. Perhaps this is before the first issue of Savage Sword, the black and white magazine. I should know that, but I don't remember what year that was. I thought it was around 76, 77. Maybe it was just after this. I don't know. I should look that up. Okay, the next one here, this is a black and white one I pulled from one of my black and white magazines. I think this was from Howard the Duck. And I'm sure it was 1977 probably. The artwork on this one, it is signed. Okay, so this is Big John Buscema. And the inker is Hobero. Never heard of that inker. But it sure is a cool image, is it not? Weird creature sitting on top of a giant mushroom. That is some cool artwork. Okay, and then this next one here is I think this was a quarter page subscription ad from a 1977 comic book. Yep. And it's so cool that, you know, they used Conan so much in their advertising materials when they had the rights, especially when the first few years in late 70s that they had the rights. Well, early to mid, late 70s. And, you know, and growing up, and that was my first exposure to Conan. I had read the Conan comics long before I even knew there were paperbacks, you know, and they were pulps, you know, before that. And so, you know, probably me and a lot of other people of my generation, we thought Conan was a Marvel character. We didn't know it was licensed. I mean, we didn't take long to figure that out, but we didn't know that at the beginning. They should have never let that license drop. That is just sad that they let that go. Now here's another one that I never seen. This is another house ad for Pizzazz magazine. I don't think I ever seen a single issue of Pizzazz, but I remember these ads with Stan Lee, a very young Stan Lee, pretty young Stan Lee in this art. Yep. If you ever had a Pizzazz issue and you want to tell me about it, tell me about it in the comments, because I've never seen one. I mean, I've never really looked for one, but I certainly have never seen one. Okay, now this one I actually considered doing a full video just on this ad and trying to recreate the voices, but in the end I decided no. But this is Thor in the Ding-a-Ling family. And this is a group of cosmic hillbillies, it looks like, that Thor tangles with in this hostess ad, and it is just insane. If you want to read this, you know what, I'm going to put it up full screen over my face and just let you look at this. Probably do half the page at a time here and let you read this. It's just nuts. Crazy psycho hillbillies in space. All right. That happened, yeah. Give you some time to look at that because you'll want to read these. It's pretty nuts. Okay, that should be enough, maybe. I don't know. But the fruit pies save the day for sure. Okay, this next one is a really cool piece. This is a black and white house ad for the Rampaging Hulk. Now, this was the black and white magazine of the Hulk. Never had any of those. I've seen them. I wouldn't mind having some of them. They ran some backup features of Moon Knight in those for many years. And I did have a collection of the Moon Knight material from these magazines. And this cover is by, or this cover, I'm used to saying covers. This ad is by Walt Simonson. Another one from 1977. Really cool, dynamic drawing there. Okay, now this one is another hostess ad. Spider-Man spoils a snatch. All right, so Spider-Man and MJ are somewhere, and MJ says, Peter, someone's stolen the Cope Emerald. And somehow he distracts them with Hostess Diamonds and saves, or Hostess Cupcakes and saves the day. Wow. Okay, I think this was a half-page ad, maybe. Yeah, in one of the black and white magazines. And this is for FOOM. Now, if you're not familiar with FOOM, FOOM stood for Friends of Old Marvel. And I actually did have about 3 issues of this sort of like a fanzine, but produced by Marvel, for Marvel, you know, and it was subscription only. You couldn't pick this up in a store anywhere. And I never subscribed to FOOM, But I actually did find 3 or 4 issues of it once at a yard sale of all places when I was a little kid. And I don't know whatever happened to those. It must have went away with my original collection that I should have never let go. You know, I'm going to do a video about comic regrets in not too long. My top 10 comic book regrets. And getting rid of my original collection is one thing I deeply regret now, and I will cover that in that video. So stay tuned for that if you want to hear about that. But yeah, that's I did have 3 or 4 issues of Foom, and they were pretty interesting. And that's a really cool ad with some great artwork. You got a rare Hellcat appearance in a Marvel ad. That didn't happen too often. Okay. So now this is a full-page house ad for Devil Dinosaur by Jack Kirby. And this is when the first issue was about to come out. And man, I loved that comic book as a little kid. Just loved it. I still love it. I have the omnibus now that collects it. It's kind of a little mini bus. I believe Kristen got that for me for one year for Christmas, I think. Really great stuff. This is another full-page black and white ad from one of my my Marvel magazines, probably Savage Sword or Howard the Duck, one of those. And this is for Dracula. And this is when they were starting the magazine-size black and white Dracula. So that's what this ad's for. And it has that just beautiful Gene Colan art. Just fantastic. Man, what a fabulous artist. One of the best there ever was, for sure. And you can just see it right here, just in this black and white ad. Beautiful. So here's another full-page black and white ad from the magazines. Probably 77, I'm guessing. I'll put the years here. But again, can't read the file names. I'm so used to Windows and being able to read the file names. I forget that when you go to something like this, they hide all that from you. So, I mean, Windows does by default, but you know, if you're an old school geek like me, that's one of the first things you change. You turn on visible file names. But anyway, so this is for Warriors of the Shadow Realm, aka Weird World. Another great series that has yet to be collected in a good format. There is a trade paperback that collects all of them. It sucks. The binding is tight, and a lot of the art is sucked up in the gutter. It's just terrible. I had it, got rid of it. This needs the gallery edition treatment. It really does. Just beautiful work in this book, or in this this run. John Buscema and others doing the artwork there. And this particular one is a John Buscema piece. Another full-page house ad. This one's for Savage Sword. Look at that beautiful John Buscema work there. And it doesn't say here, but I would guess this is John Buscema, inked by John Buscema. That's certainly what it looks like to me, to my eye. This captures the brooding Conan right here. This is great. Beautiful stuff. This is an interesting one I'd never seen before. And this is in one of my Howard the Duck magazines. I'm pretty sure is where I got this one. Another full-page house ad for Star Trek The Motion Picture Marvel Comics Super Special. So yeah, it's interesting that Star Trek, I don't know, I'd have to look, but it's sort of like Star Wars in that, man, that license has bounced from publisher to publisher over the years. I mean, I remember a Marvel Star Trek, there was a DC Star Trek series. I think IDW might have had it for a little while. Not sure about that one. It's just been everywhere. And that's when Marvel had it. It's for Cole the Destroyer, Marvel preview issue. Great stuff. Here's another black and white full-page ad from the Marvel magazines. This one's for Tomb of Dracula. Another one. Beautiful ad. I'm going to guess this is around 81. Again, can't see the file names, so I don't know. But this is from Pacific Comics. Pacific Comics was one of the first independent publishers, mostly creator-owned stuff like Captain Victory and the Galactic Rangers. And that's what this ad is for. One of the last things Jack Kirby worked on before his death, I think, was Captain Victory. May not be the very last, but it was the last few years of his life, he worked on Captain Victory, among other things, for Pacific Comics. This is also from a Pacific comic, and this is an ad for Star Slayer by Mike Grell. That was another great series, I think. And, yep, some of the earliest direct market-only independent publishers was Pacific Comics. I sure wouldn't mind having a collection of all those together in an omnibus format, but probably will likely never see something like that because all of the stuff Pacific put out was owned by the individual creators. So you're not going to get that kind of cooperation probably. This is another house ad from within a Pacific comic for Captain Victory and Silver Star. More of the very late Jack Kirby work. Not sure why the color is so terrible on this ad, but it is particularly nasty. And that I couldn't do anything with it in Photoshop either. It's just, I don't know why they did it so garish like this. I mean, their interior pages did not look this bad typically, so I don't know what happened here. Okay, so this is 1983, a Marvel in-house subscription ad. I think this was a full pager. I cut off the coupon portion of it here when I did the edit. But this is pretty weird seeing Wolverine just so damn happy to be slashing prices. Another in-house Pacific Comics ad. I think this was the inside cover, and this is for classic Gru the Wanderer by Sergio Aragonés. Great stuff. Still on Pacific Comics from the early 80s. This one is for Vanguard Illustrated. 83, I believe. Yeah, and this is, I'd have never had any of the Vanguard illustrators. It looks great. This particular one, the cover's by Dave Stevens. Dave Stevens did a lot of stuff for Pacific Comics in the early 80s. And he's just one of the greats of all time, in my opinion. Here's another full-page Pacific Comics house ad. This one for Bold Adventures, which was their anthology series. And man, it had so much great stuff. It had a lot of work by Bruce Jones. Just tons of great artists. A lot of Dave Stevens in there too. Artwork 1983 by Rudy Nebres. Now, I never knew how to pronounce that, and I knew I was going to show some Rudy stuff here, so I did look that up, and I found an interview with him where he says his own last name, and he says Nebres. So we'll go with that. Criminally underrated Filipino artist, that guy. Just great stuff. Now, this one, I think, is from, let's see, 1983. Yep. And this is a house ad inside an Eclipse comic book. Yeah, Eclipse was another one of the early, mostly indie, maybe all indie creator-owned stuff that they did. And they did do the Destroyer Duck comic. If you're not familiar with that, I think Comic Tropes did a great video on Destroyer Duck. But it was a character that Steve Gerber and Jack Kirby mainly worked on, and they did it to benefit the Legal Defense Fund for Steve Gerber. He sued Marvel to try to get his rights to Howard the Duck. Spoiler, he did not succeed, as you probably know. That stayed with Marvel, that license, but he tried, and Jack Kirby helped him, and there were a lot of others. I don't know if this is a Jack Kirby piece here. The copyright is Steve Gerber and Jack Kirby because they did own the character. But it could be Kirby, but other people did work on the book, especially the last few issues. I think it only ran for 6 or 7 issues. I used to have most of those at one time. I have a few now. I'm really going to try to complete that one day. But you could, anyway, this is an ad for a t-shirt. You could get a Destroyer Duck t-shirt. Man, I wish I had that. I would wear that. I guarantee it. Now, this is from 1984 in the Marvel Black and White magazines. This is a Subscribe to Savage Sword of Conan. And there is a signature here, but I cannot make it out. It says Zaya and Garcia. I think that's probably the penciler and the inker, so I don't know who that is, but man, it's beautiful. if you can describe savage violence as beautiful, this one's beautiful. So glad that I understand Titan is going to continue publishing the Savage Sword of Conan omnibus collections, because Marvel kicked out quite a few of them, but man, Savage Sword ran for a long time, 225 issues, I believe. So they got a ways to go. I think they didn't even get halfway through, maybe halfway. I don't know. Probably not even halfway through. It's going to take a lot of omnis to cover all those Savage Swords. I got the book sporadically. I had a few here and there, but you know, I've said many times, and I stand by that. I do prefer my comics in color, but I do enjoy some black and white. And I mean, look at this piece. This is beautiful. So I did start getting those as omnis. I have all of the ones Marvel did. So if they continue, if Titan continues those, I will probably pick those up. And that one, copyright's 1984, but I believe this was from a 1985 issue of Savage Sword of Conan. And that is all I have for you today. That is 26 scans, 26 interior comic book ad scans. If you like that, let me know in the comments. Hit the like button, hit subscribe if you don't want to miss out on upcoming stuff. And yeah, let me know if you like taking a look at these old ads. And if you want to see more of that, I could do a part 3 for sure. It'll take a while, but yeah, I could do more. And so I got that week, and I'll let you go. I'll see you next week, if not sooner. Thanks for watching.